What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked In Sports Podcast. I'm William Locke, and joining me for this Milwaukee Brewers National League Central Team preview for 2025 is Luis Barranco. Luis, how you doing?
We got officially the central block. We are starting the central block of teams. I know we have Milwaukee today, Kansas City tomorrow, the day after Minnesota, and the day before you've already gotten the Tigers and the Guardians. So we are in the thick of middle America, the Midwest, America's heartland, as they would say, the backbone of America. We're in Wisconsin today. We got some spotted cow here. Hopefully some Miller beer as well, some cheese, and we're going to talk about one of the best pitching labs in baseball today, in the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yep, they were 93 and 69 last year, first year under their new manager Pat Murphy. They won the division. They lost in the wild card series to the New York Mets. Fascinating team because payroll is actually up this year, $1 million, despite losing their star shortstop Willy Adames to the San Francisco Giants. They were never really in on those free agent negotiations. They're kind of one of those teams that refuses to spend money. They lost Frankie Montas. Joe Ross is gone. Hobie Milner, Colin Ray, Gary Sanchez. Jake Bowers is back. They brought him in. And then Wade Miley's gone, and also Bryce Wilson is gone to the White Sox. They lost a lot. Luis, why don't you run through their lineup and rotation and bullpen?
So aside from the losses, I think the one that we got to really harp on is the Willy Adames one. I really don't really mind the Gary Sanchez loss, the Wade Miley's. I mean, those are all kind of replaceable pitchers. And when it comes down to their pitching lab, it's one of the best pitching labs. Who would agree? Top 5 pitching lab in the country. You would say, correct?
In the league, yeah, in the league.
Yeah, I would say the country. Same thing.
Same thing. I mean, you could, maybe there's a really good pitching lab at the college level, high school level. You don't know. I mean, but yeah, I get the point.
They could be number 6 because if we say top in MLB, we have to include Canada, like the Jays. So that's the top 5 of the country. So yeah.
True. We should do a podcast dedicated to ranking the pitching labs, and we research it. We talk about the pitchers they've developed. Obviously we research it, but I think that would be a good episode. But yeah, the Brewers are on top of that list.
So their lineup is year 2 Jackson Chourio. I think he's one of the most electric youngsters at 21. They got Christian Yelich at DH. Had a good year before getting hurt. William Contreras, probably the best offensive catcher. I think Atlanta really regrets that trade. Garrett Mitchell, Rhys Hoskins at first. Bryce Terang, another William Defense League guy. Weird that he didn't go to Vandy or Butler, and he's not a local product. So, but still one of Williams' favorites.
I saw him play in person in Wrigley 2 years ago.
So that's why.
Well, I was like, hey, this guy plays really good defense. And then what do you know? Next year, in 2024, he won the Platinum Glove. So I have a good eye. I think I'm a good scout. Should be a scout.
So now we got to add that to like Williams' assessment of players. If they played for Vandy, they're a local guy. They play good defense, or if William has seen them live. If you reach 2 or 3 out of the criteria, William probably is a fan. Oh, and Butler. So that's the other one. So they got 100%. Joey Ortiz. They got Sal Frelick, who's put on, I believe, 15 pounds of muscle, according to him. Oliver Dunn, ex-Yankee draft pick. On the bench, they have Eric Haas, Caleb Durbin, and then Mark Hanna was signed. Pitching-wise, Freddie Peralta, Tobias Myers, Yankee great, Nestor Cortez and fan favorite, Aaron Civale, and Aaron Ashby. I think the biggest loss is that they do not have Devin Williams. He is now a New York Yankee. Brandon Woodruff should be back this year at some point. And DL Hall recently got shut down with a strained lat. So, this team looks really good. Again, I will never, ever count out the Brewers for as much bad things I think about this organization, about my opinions. They win ball games, and that's what matters, winning the freaking game. Prospect-wise, they're loaded. They got, I believe, one of the best youngsters in Jesus Made, a switch hitter who's 17 years old. So, hey, between Jesus Made, Jacob Mezorowski, and Jefferson Carrero, I think they're pretty much set. William, take it away. What do you think about the Brewers this year?
Yeah, they're a team that has to rely on their prospects or being shrewd with their trades because they don't spend money. They traded Williams because they weren't going to give him a contract. They didn't re-sign Adames. They were never going to re-sign Adames. But they're kind of like the Rays of the National League. Like for as much as you knock it, they win games. They've won the Central 4 out of the last 5 years. Sorry, 3 out of the last 4 years. They've made the playoffs in 6 of the last 7 seasons. They made the NLCS. They were 1 game within the World Series in 2018, but lost to the Dodgers that year. Since then, they've only won 2 playoff games, but they've been in the playoffs 5 times. They win. I think they've been the class of this division for the past, I don't know, probably 10 years or so. Maybe the end of the Cubs run there in 2016, 2017. But they've been the class of this division maybe for the last, we'll say 7 seasons. We'll see. I think it's a question of how much can they continue to lose and still win, because they lost Adames. He was, one of their best bats last year, but they have Chourio now, who's, probably going to be, I don't know, he might get MVP votes this season. He's that good. Last year, he finished with a 791 OPS, 21 home runs, and a 275 average in his rookie season. Really good defensive left fielder as well. And he has good speed, sold 22 bags. So he's their future guy. I think there's a question, or he's their future building block that eventually they'll lose to free agency. It's true. It's the way this franchise operates.
You never know. I mean, they have Christian Yelich. I mean, that contract should be out of the books by the time you open up talks. And I do feel like the difference between with this team and additions of years prior, I kind of feel like their offense is way more than usual. I mean, they had Ryan Braun, CeCe Sabathia, and Prince Fielder. I kind of think we're getting back into that golden age with Contreras, Chourio, and Freddie Peralta is probably one of the most underrated pitchers in the game that you have.
Sorry, I totally misspoke on Chourio. I forgot he signed a deal already. 8 years, $82 million. I'm sure the Brewers fans were screaming at me. Yeah, he's under contract through 2031 with club options for 32 and 33. So he's a Brewer. Yeah, he's got an Enron deal, average annual value of $10 million over the next 8 seasons.
So he got himself an Acuna deal, essentially, Ronald Acuna Jr. type of deal.
Yeah.
I think this team's pretty good. You can't knock this team, and it's just every year that you think they're going to be garbage or you think they're going to regress, they always just come back and win ball games. Like I said, the pitching lineup's great. Freddie Peralta is one of the best pitchers in the majors.
Is he?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's kind of a hot take. I think he's been kind of disappointing.
I mean, he plays for the Brewers. That's the problem.
Like 3.86 and 23, 3.68 and 24. He's good. I don't think he's one of the best pitchers in the league.
I think so. I think it's the ascension's there. I mean, multi-time All-Star. Like, give me Freddie Peralta shares.
Okay, I mean, he's 28. Projected to finish with a 3.76 with a 2.8 WAR. I mean, it's I think he's good. I don't think he's great. When's he a free agent? He's got a club option for next year of $8 million. That'll be picked up for sure. They got the interesting thing with them. They got Yelich on the books through 20. He's got a mutual option in 2029. He's 33. He's got back issues, which are kind of concerning for me. Like, that's not really something that you can just fix right away. And yeah, he's owed 26, 26, and then 20 with the mutual option. They got Rhys Hoskins, 18 mil. Like, they're paying some guys, but
he's an athletic guy. He's an athletic guy. I think they're a team that's going to make shrewd moves. Like the William Contreras was such a shrewd move, getting involved on that 3-team trade. They ended up giving up what's his name? Crap. What's his name? Center fielder Esteury Ruiz to get him over. Yeah. And I think you do that trade 10 times out of 10 to get a guy like William Contreras, who could be in the conversation, in my opinion, for the MVP. Your lineup is headlined by those 3 big boys, and then Rhys Hoskins, we know what he is, and of course, Williams' guy, Bryce Terang.
It's a team that's going to play good defense. Bryce Terang, I mean, he won the freaking Platinum Glove, best defensive player in the National League last year. The story for them, I think, is the bullpen. Second in bullpen ERA the last 2 seasons.
What do you think about Joey Ortiz? I think he's one of the, before we get into the bullpen, I think he's one of the most underrated guys too as well. I think
Well, yeah, I mean, they got him in the Corbin Burns trade, right? And the question with him was, or question for them this season, who's take over at shortstop? And it looks like it's going to be Joey Ortiz with churning remaining at second. Yeah, I think he's underrated. Can he handle the workload over there at shortstop? Will be interesting to see, coming over from third base last year. Not the best hitter, but really good defender. So they're going to play good defense. At the bare minimum, this team is going to play really good defense.
I think this team's good, man. I just think it's just like you can never count them out. And I think this is the year that their lineup is actually better than the rotation. It's always been the opposite. I think it's inverted this year.
That is true. Their lineup is definitely better than the rotation. And you mentioned Contreras, probably the best hitting catcher in the league right now. And, can Yelich have a bounce back season if he's fully healthy? He was an all-star last year. And I think they really missed him in the second half. If they had a fully healthy Yelich last year, maybe they make it to the DS, maybe even a CS. Now you got Chourio, who's a star. So yeah, the Chourio, Yelich, Contreras 1, 2, 3 is really good. You're going to need a Garrett Mitchell bounce back year, a Rhys Hoskins bounce back year, and then the second half of the lineup is kind of just defensive guys. But they're good. You can't write off the Brewers. Yeah, Brandon Woodruff coming back, but looks like he's not going to be ready for opening day. So I think there's more questions about this rotation than there have been in previous years. They've lost a lot. They lost Devin Williams, which I think is going to hurt the back end of the pen. They probably don't finish with the second best bullpen this season. Got my guy Nestor Cortez slotted in as the 3-starter right now.
What do you think about Nestor Cortez there?
Good fit. I think it's, he's coming over from the Yankees pitching lab, which is really good, and moving into the Brewers pitching lab, which is really good. So I think he's in good hands.
Is he a number 3 guy though?
Certainly the last couple seasons with the Yankees, he has not been. No. So that's concerning.
I think they need an arm. The thing is, it's like all the arms that get floated around, Dylan Cease, Michael King. I don't think you're going out and running to go get them just due to monetary.
The question, is it internal with a Mizorowski?
Yeah, I like Mizorowski. I think he has an electric fastball.
He does.
Elite.
Struggles with the command, though. That's the thing with him.
Hey, I just think they're going to put up runs, and I think Woodruff's going to bounce back, and that's my biggest takeaway with this team. The lineup's going to be really good. I kind of have a feeling that the top half of the rotation is going to be decent. It's just going to be them mixing and matching, and I think the Brewers are going to be there in contention to win the division this season.
Oh, yeah. They'll definitely be in contention. Do you think they can do it?
I don't know. The Central's the whole Central. The Reds are up. Cubs are up. Pirates, you got to go through Paul Skeens at least once every 5 days, and then the Cardinals are going to be very pesky. So I don't know how their pitching keeps up. I do think their lineups is going to be good. It's just, are there other guys going to produce like Sal Frelick, Oliver Dunn, Andrew Monasterio? Are those guys going to be there? And Rhys Hoskins is there for purely power reasons. We're going to need to see something. Mm-hmm. He hit 214 last year. So
yeah, he has, like I said, he has to have a bounce back season. And I said it already, but can the bullpen, can they absolve the loss of Devin Williams, who is one of the better closers in the sport? That's tough to lose a guy like that.
Do you think they're bound for a reset year?
No.
Maybe a little dip, miss the playoffs, and then kind of make a move or two, just reshuffle some pieces.
The thing is, I feel really good about their lineup, even with the loss of Adames.
So you're big on Garrett Mitchell, Hoskins, Frelick, and Dunn.
It's more so I think Chourio can be one of the best hitters in the National League, and I think William Contreras is the best hitting catcher in the sport right now.
Yeah,
that's I do have questions about the lineup depth, and if one of those guys gets hurt, their season's cooked. Well, because the pitching's not going to be there this year as much as it has been in the past.
That's what happened with Yelich. He got hurt last year and it was cooked. So
still 193.
Yeah, but they had a way better pitching rotation last year.
Way better.
And they had Devin Williams. the Airbender, which I mean that's a big loss.
It's
Like
huge.
that, you put him in the game, and it was game over. Where would you rank him in like pitchers wise? Like where would you rank him in the stratosphere of closers?
I mean, you probably got to put Class A1, right? Despite the playoffs.
I don't know. I haven't been that much into Class A. I'm kind of jaded, so
I mean, in terms of regular season last year, he was by far the best closer.
yeah.
I mean, I think I really like Ryan Helsley in St. Louis. Hader, Mason Miller's in that conversation.
Okay, now let me ask you this question: Jackson Chourio, or who? Who would you pick to start a team? Because I feel like everybody's picking Jackson Chourio to build their team around.
Well, Bobby Witt's the number one guy you're building your team around in terms of that young crop.
Yeah, but Bobby Witt or Chourio or Ellie?
Chourio.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he's got a higher floor than Cruz, Taylor Cruz.
Okay, I can see that.
Like I can see a world in which Ellie just never gets over the strikeouts and is, just kind of a stolen base guy and occasional home run guy. But I think Chourio is like he's got the base. Even last year he struck out a little bit more than I would like, but that was his rookie season. He struck out at 21% clip, like about average. But he didn't really walk. But I just think Chourio. I mean, he had 275 last year. That's really good in this era of Major League Baseball.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, last year, as William said, they went 93 and 69. DraftKings, not sponsored, not affiliated. Please bet responsibly. 83.5 over under. Ceiling division winners. We have that as their assessment. Worst case scenario, they're a team battling for a wild card or mid division team. William, let you take it away. Do you agree with those assessments? And are you taking the over or the under?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Their ceiling is they can win the division and probably end up losing in the wild card again.
Are we going over though with 83.5 or under?
I know I'm thinking because I'm struggling because I like so many of these teams. Like in the past couple days, I went over on the Rays. I went over on the Giants. I was under on the Blue Jays. Guardians and Tigers, even though those have not been recorded as of now, they've been released when this comes out. But those are American League teams. 83.5. That's such a good number. I wouldn't bet it.
It's pretty close. And I just think the Central is way more competitive this year than last year. I think every Central team.
All right, make your pick. I'm going to look at. Well, okay, I got it up actually.
I got my pick. I can go right now.
Okay, go.
I'm going to take over, but slightly. I think they'll hit like 84, 85. Like I said, I think they'll be able to like beat up on Pirates and Cardinals, but then those other teams are just like that division's going to like cannibalize each other. Typical Central action.
Yeah. Last year, I was looking at the wild card. The wild card, 3 teams tied with 89 wins, and the Diamondbacks missed out. The Mets and Braves tied, obviously. So, and their number is 83.5.
Yeah. Are they a 500 ball club or sub 500 ball club essentially?
Because it's like the pitching got worse. There's no denying that.
Yeah, but I think they're still better, and I think they have a front office that will make moves and will buy.
And they're going to play really good defense, and they got Chourio.
And they got Will Contreras, and they got Christian Yelich.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Yelich. I think I'm a slight over as well.
You're really out on Yelich. What's the deal?
I'm not really out. I just there's concerns with the back. When you have a back injury, it's really hard to bounce back from that.
Interesting.
It's not something like a I don't know, a hamstring that once it heals, usually I mean those can linger. but or like a broken elbow. Once that's healed, you should be mostly good. Backs are weird, but I'm a slight over. I kind of like the Rays. I think they'll win 84, 85, 86 games and be in the running for that last wild card, but just miss it. I think the pitching is ultimately what's going to let them down. Like they're really relying on Nestor Cortez to be a dude this year, and you're going to have Freddie Peralta be one of the best pitchers in the sport.
Woodruff too, and DL Hall to contribute.
DL Hall, and he finally put a season together. Woodruff coming back off injury. He's not even going to be ready for opening day. Blake Perkins out with a fractured shin right now. That's some outfield depth out the window. So Robert Gasser, Tommy John in June. We'll see. There's more question marks, I think. But I feel like we say this about the Brewers every year. Like there's question marks coming in, and like last year they still won 93 games and won the division.
Is this the year that they fall back down?
That's the question.
So
unfortunately we can't predict the future, but we both in our predictions are saying that they're not. They're going to go over 83.
So we'll see.
We'll see. All right, you got anything else on the Brewers?
Oh, that's it for me, man. I'm brewed out.
All right. We've done our trip up to Milwaukee. We've had our cheese curds. We've had our spotted cow. We're going to go down to Kansas City now in our run of Central Block teams, and we're going to go enjoy some barbecue and maybe see Taylor Swift.
Till next time, enjoy the night, boys and girls.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow with the Kansas City Royals. Until then, catch you next time. Peace out.